If you talk about chip making, two companies usually spring to mind: Taiwan's TSMC and South Korea's Samsung Electronics. The two Asian firms combine control more than 70% of the semiconductor manufacturing market. According to statistics from market research firm TrendForce, TSMC is expected to have a 56% market share and a revenue of $12.91 billion in the first quarter of 2021. Samsung's foundry business has an estimated market share of 18% during the period from January to March 2021, with revenue of $4.05 billion. This also means that almost half of the world's chips are produced by TSMC. The US, which was once a leader, lags in this space after monumental shifts in the business models in the semiconductor industry. But a global semiconductor shortage and geopolitical tensions with China have bolstered Washington's scrutiny of the supply chain, which is concentrated in the hands of a small number of players and has created a drive to bring manufacturing back to American soil to regain leadership. The US has earmarked billions of dollars and is reportedly looking at alliances with other nations. Semiconductors are critical to everything from cars to the smartphones we use, and they've also been thrust into the center of US-China tensions. The world's largest contract chip maker is under pressure to pick a side in the US-China rivalry for the technological supremacy, posing a dilemma for a company that has become crucial to the global supply chain. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, which has been thrust into the spotlight during a worldwide chip shortage, faces accusations of indirectly supplying China's military. That has further embroiled the semiconductor group in the US campaign to curtail China's access to high-tech components. It has also posed a big question for TSMC and other Taiwanese groups on whether to commit themselves to the larger US market or faster-growing China. On the front line of the superpower struggle between the United States and China, Taiwan has fashioned a defensive masterstroke. It has become indispensable to both sides. In dominating the fabrication of the most advanced semiconductors, the giant Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company Limited, or TSMC, has captured a technology that's crucial to the cutting-edge digital devices and weapons of today and tomorrow. TSMC accounts for more than 90% of the global output of these chips, according to industry estimates. Both superpowers now find themselves deeply dependent on the small island at the center of their increasingly tense rivalry. For Washington, allowing an increasingly powerful China to overrun TSMC's foundries in a conflict would threaten US military and technological leadership. However, if Beijing invades, there's no guarantee it could seize the prized foundries intact. They could easily become a casualty of the fighting, severing the supply of chips to China's vast electronics industry. Even if the foundry survived a Chinese takeover, they would almost certainly be cut off from a global supply chain essential to their output. Both America and China would want to break their dependency. Washington has persuaded TSMC to open a US foundry that'll make advanced semiconductors and is preparing to spend billions rebuilding its domestic chip-making industry. Beijing too is spending big, but its chip industry lags a decade or so behind Taiwan's in many key areas. Analysts say that gap is expected to widen in the years ahead. So valuable are these foundries to the global economy that some here refer to Taiwan's chip sector as a silicon shield that deters a Chinese attack and ensures American support. But the danger for Taiwan is that TSMC's fabs, as the chip fabrication plants are known, are right in the line of fire. The US last year accounted for over 60% of TSMC sales, compared with only 20% to China. However, the latter is the fastest growing market for semiconductors, making China a lucrative opportunity for TSMC. TSMC has previously been caught up in US-China tensions. Almost 2 years ago, the Trump administration said chips the company had sold to technology group Huawei were being used in Chinese missiles. Washington's efforts to draw TSMC away from Beijing have extended to the chip company moving parts of its supply chain onto American soil. Last May, under pressure from the Trump administration, TSMC announced plans to open a plant in Phoenix, which would bring it closer to the operation of US military manufacturers Raytheon and Honeywell. Washington wants sensitive technology such as the TSMC computer chips used in F-35 stealth fighter jets to be manufactured in the US. An insider with direct knowledge of the matter said that the expansion decision was made at the request of the United States. At present, TSMC is adopting 12 measures to recruit talents for the Arizona plant, including employees who can get green cards and double their salaries. Even if TSMC has plans to expand its plant in Nanjing, East China's Zhejiang province this year, with the reportedly capacity elevated to 40,000 28nm wafers per month, some industry observers said the plant in the Chinese mainland doesn't have advanced manufacturing capability due to political pressure from the island of Taiwan and the US. Following a deal signed last week between an Arizona Economic Development Group and an Industrial Cooperation Promotion Office in the island of Taiwan, the big chip plant project has raised questions amongst some industry observers in China. Will TSMC become the next victim following Huawei amid the escalating US-China tech war? What are TSMC talents want? To the mainland or the United States, for many TSMC employees, this is a problem. According to estimates from Taipei recruitment company H&L Management Consultants, since 2018, more than 300 senior Taiwanese engineers have gone to mainland chip manufacturing companies to seek jobs. In fact, the number of people going to the mainland is much higher. According to Taiwan media reports, in recent years, after the mainland has increased its investment in the semiconductor industry, more than 3,000 semiconductor talents have been imported from Taiwan. In fact, there are many companies that want to tap TSMC employees. In addition to the mainland, there are companies in the United States, Japan, South Korea, and other countries. But the TSMC employers are more interested in the mainland rather than any other country. But why? Following this, TSMC employee Fei Fei said, "In the past, everyone was more willing to go to the United States, followed by Japan, South Korea, and finally the mainland. However, in the past 2 years, the situation has been reversed. TSMC used to have a very high salary, but now it has no competitive advantage compared with mainland companies." Fei Fei said that the mainland did not hesitate to take a lot of money, and her colleague left TSMC in this way. He said, "The mainland employer provides his 5-year-old child with a school subsidy of 60,000 yuan each year, and his salary is twice what he had previously earned at TSMC. Many, why not go?" There are also many Taiwanese engineers who frankly said that earning 3 years in the mainland is equivalent to the money earned in Taiwan for 10 years. However, leaving TSMC means higher salaries and new life opportunities, but it's also a big risk. First of all, the mainland is not a pure land. When you come here, in addition to getting several times the previous salary and extra standard courtesy, you may also encounter scams. Secondly, TSMC is not so easy to leave. The more advanced the talents, the greater the constraints such as competition agreements. Finally, the Taiwan authorities are also arbitrarily blocking them. A few days ago, in order to prevent the so-called important technical talents from Taiwan from flowing to the mainland, the Taiwan authorities sent a letter to relevant recruitment agencies requesting to immediately remove all recruitment information involving mainland jobs and not to assist any mainland enterprises in recruiting talents from Taiwan to work in the mainland, violating regulations. The person will be fined up to 5 million NT dollars, approximately 1.60 million RMB, and specifically pointed out that if it involves helping practitioners in Taiwan's key industries, such as integrated circuits, semiconductors, or ICs, to work in the mainland, they will be severely punished.